session. We're going to stay right here. So what I'm intending to do is we may have to, Mike's going to figure that out, whether we might have to send you a new link or whether he can kick her about. He's working on that. So at the end of the meeting, we may send you a new link just to log back in for executive session. So if you want to join us for that, we should be able to do that and not have to call, if that's good with everybody, the three of you out there. Nothing else, let's call this meeting to order. Start with a moment of reflection. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Mahoney?
Mr. Mahoney's here.
Mr. Dinsmore?
Here.
Mr. Buckby?
Here.
Mr. Osnanek?
Here.
Ms. Brink? Mr. Rickroad?
Here.
Mr. DePlacido?
Here.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Ring?
Here.
Ms. Lee? Mr. Gilbert?
Here. Thank you very much. Number two, we got the agenda and amendments here. Got some amendment items. Do I have anything other than that to add to the agenda? Not. Do we need a motion to approve those?
Approve the agenda with the amendments.
All right.
Typically do.
So I'd like to make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Now we got the meeting minutes. I'd like to make the motion to accept the meeting minutes of March 25th.
So moved, Gilbert.
Second.
Dennis, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Student accomplishment highlights, third quarter exemplary students.
Again, I'd just like to pass this out to you, and it's also in my, it'll save me time in my activity report. But again, they're highlighted, and again, the perfect attendance is in blue. The green, I think, is honor roll there, and then the distinguished student is the yellowish color. So again, just to let you know, I like to take the positive end. I was teasing the principal group when I had a meeting with them. You know, we want to keep kids accountable, and again, everybody's talking about COVID and the stresses here, but our honor roll is up from last year. Okay, our perfect attendance numbers are up from last year, and the distinguished numbers are actually up too. So again, I'm very proud of our staff and our students during this COVID time. So again, you'll see in my report, we have 181 students that made the honor roll. 203 with perfect attendance. So this is good news for us in the third quarter, and then the distinguished students. So if you can share that, it's divided by your districts, and so you can share that at your meetings and be proud of those students.
I saw the numbers. I didn't compare them to last year, but I was impressed.
Yeah, they're very good this year.
Thanks, Joe. Takes us to guest and public comment. Anybody like to address the board on there, Mike?
Don't see anybody.
I heard Mrs. Fulcrub was going to want to address the board, I think.
She is here. Does she? Make sure. And I don't see anybody saying anything in the chat box. Lisa, do you see anything on your end?
I do not.
All righty. Very good. Moving on, important items coming to ECTS.
Couple of things that I'll talk about right now. The state of Pennsylvania has really tried to work towards supporting the school districts during this COVID pandemic. And you've heard in your school districts several reports of funding that has come through. And you might have also heard that that funding was in some cases not applicable to the career and technical centers. That put our professional association in motion to approach the governor and the political establishment to get us some funding, which they did with a grant program called GEAR, which is also known as Continuity of Education for Career and Technical Centers. We got an initial GEAR grant, and then they came through with a second GEAR grant. So we have about $260,000 allocation to write in for this GEAR grant. The reason that's important is that's $260,000 of unplanned resources. The key is it's a very short window to apply for it, May 10th, and we just found out about it. And so I've already pulled together the administration as a team of professionals to start talking about what are we going to do with this and what are the options. They have 12 categories of allowable uses. And so we started looking at things in those 12 categories that we might be able to do to advance the interests of the kids in the school. So we've had our initial meeting. I've set out a spreadsheet, and so we're going to come back now with another round of prioritization about the things that we can apply for, and then we'll apply for it, and then we'll see how that comes out. Again, in reflecting on some of the good advice that everyone has put in, but in particular, Paul has always said in this grant application, you always want to try to be able to fund things in grants that you can take out of the regular budget to provide more flexibility for reallocation without having strings of a grant. So there are some things that we're already doing that we know we're going to apply for and put in there, and some of those things I won't go into the list, but they're software related subscriptions that we have to have for emergency systems. So that's a great thing coming to the school. We will use some of those resources for equipment. We will use some of those resources for facilities related things, and then we'll use some of those resources in terms of trying to find ways to give kids more time with teachers, especially the juniors and seniors that may have lost hours of contact with their teachers this last year. So we'll be very responsible, working as a team, and that's what we're doing with that. That's great news for what's coming up to the Erie County Technical School. I will also share with you a second item about what's coming up for the Erie County Technical School is that I conducted a tour with the trustees of the Erie County Community College last week. Toured the Skill Center as they have some interest in trying to find some locations where they can offer classes as soon as this next fall. I've had a nice conversation with Judy Gay, who is their principal. She's residing in Philadelphia and commuting back and forth. What did I say? Principal. Oh, president of the community college. So the communications that I've had with Judy as recently as today are that they remain interested in leasing part of or all of the Skill Center next year for community college classes. There are going to be a couple of things that we're going to have to work through on that. Number one, Paul's going to have to get together in terms of a contract. I imagine we're going to have to get that contract looked at, reviewed legally, as well as through the JOC for ultimate approval. I think all things are go. The one thing that might be a ticklish to deal with is the janitorial or custodial services that have to be done at night after the kids are done. So the building would be open after 3:30 in the afternoons for whatever days they may choose to use it. We're a daytime operation in collective bargaining. We're not going to be able to provide the cleaning services for that thing at night. And I let her know that I didn't see that as a deal breaker, but that we're going to have to work through that. So it looks like there's some interest. I've had great conversations with the trustees and with President Gay about the role that ECTS will play as a feeder into that community college, and it's a natural fit, just under the design of the American educational system. So we'll have a great relationship. We'll work with them. We'll support them however we can. That's going to flavor the ECTS in the years to come. So two good pieces of news that are coming to the school. Do you want to say anything about thoughts of the JOC in terms of how to proceed with developing a contract or agreement?
Well, let's see what their interest is and what, and we've got a contract on our agenda here tonight with the IU, with some of those classes, so assuming we're gonna approve that, if we do that, we'll have to figure out, see what they're interested in, that I think.
Okay, so we'll bring back, so the note is we'll bring back to you a contract. The only thing I can think that may be require action, and they may need some sort of a formalized answer before another month goes by so that they can plan their operations. But I don't think that's a particularly difficult situation to do.
We offered them to come about 3 months ago, so they've waited till now, so they'll wait another month.
Okay. That's fine. Before
I think you guys, the administration, can start working with them and seeing, well, it's gonna take time to,
Yeah, we're already on.
figure that out, so.
We're already on.
Do we have any other thoughts on that?
Are they just looking at a 1-year commitment or?
They said they have interest. They have not put pen to paper yet.
I think they've been checking out a lot of sites, trying to figure out what's in their best interest.
They're going to have multiple sites. And so that's what they're thinking of, is how do we get started? Their main challenge is not getting classroom space. Their main challenge is you get kids into associate degree programs in a community college, you're going to need labs. And I don't think there's a plan for that yet.
I just would like, hopefully they're looking at more than 1 year, because all of a sudden we put all of our eggs in one basket and it's only a year and we missed the boat on something else, we have nothing to fall back on at that point. So hopefully.
All we would be doing is providing space.
Right.
We're not, if they're gonna renovate something and make it to their liking, I would think they would want to be there more than 1 year.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
That concludes the report of what's coming to ECTS.
Very good. That takes us to operations. We have a variety of things on here. I'll just kind of highlight them. We've got the revised health and safety plan. Got a support personnel job descriptions that were here. Hopefully have time to look those over. As we talked about last month, a section, a grouping of employees and job descriptions. So support personnel is here. We've got the motion for the lease that I just mentioned. We've got Mr. Emmerich willing to serve another year. However, he wants paid again. But anyways, that's on our list here. Motion to ratify articulation agreement with Mercyhurst University for culinary arts and tourism and hospitality management programs. Ratify an articulation agreement between Pittsburgh Technical College and the Erie County Technical School for other programs here as listed. We've got a contract with AEC Group and the Erie County Technical School for technology needs assessment per the terms of the attached agreement. Also, the director's expense reimbursement request. And we've got a motion to dispose of a vehicle in AUT. Something like
So moved.
that sounds like Terry.
It was.
Terry moved. Is there a second?
Second, Dennis.
Any discussion?
Just a question in regard to the lease with the IU and the conversation about the community college. If the community college wanted to move forward with that location, would this lease present a roadblock or a conflict?
No, the lease with the IU is to rent space for the Regional Choice Initiative dual enrollment college courses. Those are during the day, generally in the mornings, Tuesday and Thursday. And the community college has already been informed that the building would not be available for them until after 3:30.
I thought you said that, but I just wasn't clear.
We also, along those lines, we also have the CDL courses in there during the day, and that should not interfere with them.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Financial items. Business manager report. Anything you want to say, Paul?
I do. Let's see if Mike can make that a little larger. That's excellent.
Too large.
Kind of set it to the right, or to the left so we can see that.
Was that?
It's been a good first month.
You can hand them up.
It's been that long already. Well, I guess. In terms of board docs, we hope to have training here in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, for the month of May, we'll have that up and running for everyone. So we're looking forward to that. In terms of the business manager's report, I'd like to read into the record that these are funds that the general account has, the general fund. The PNC, the Northwest Savings Bank, Erie Bag, $2,404,369.72. The capital projects funds, you have $819,551.02, $20,683.32 in the student activities. And the flexible spending account with PNC is $13,965.62 for a total of $3,258,569.68. So if we could kind of scroll through, I'm not going to make any comments in regards to the fund balance, but you can see those as they've changed. And then we can go on further through that report. If there was anything specific that stood out, I would highlight those, but we don't really have anything there. So let's go on to the next report, which is the treasurer's report, I believe. Is that next?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with the treasurer's report. I've added a third month because I think it's important so that you can see the trend. And I've tried to highlight that in a little darker gray color so you can see that. We started the month with $719,857.82. We received receipts of $436,296.58. Credit card receipts, that's through the Square, $11,869.26. A little bit of interest, $75.49. So total receipts and interest was $448,241.33. In terms of disbursements, you can see the total there of $226,530.24, which leaves you an ending cash balance in the Northwest Savings account of $941,568.91. Now, I just want to point out that we list that as PNC/Northwest Savings Bank because we still had those accounts open in January. But as months go on, those will disappear. So I'll just read Northwest Savings Bank. In terms of the next group is the investments with PSLAF or Pennsylvania Liquid Asset Fund and PSMAX. We started with $591,842.30. You can see a retirement subsidy that we received, vocational ed subsidy, and some money for the GEAR grant. Total of $199,042.31. In terms of disbursements, the total is $252,552.44, leaving a cash balance in that account of $538,332.17. In the Erie Bank, we have those investments. Those are pretty stagnant except for a little bit of interest that we receive. The next item is the Section 125 or the flex account. We have with PNC started with $12,765.41. There were some transfers that were made into the account, some expenses, leaving a balance of $13,965.62. You can see the dental account, dental and vision, and then beyond that is the capital projects fund. Started with $647,179.87, and we received $187,905.95, and those were funds that we received from various school districts. Now, where it says in that second line, school districts pre-bid documents, state monies, that account includes that $60,000 that we received for the roundabout project that's going on out there. Transfer of $15,532.80. See the ending cash balance of $819,551. Okay. And then lastly, we have the student activities. Started, it's $14,777.28. See some money from Skills USA, some transfers from the general fund. Total receipts of $8,424.03. And you see the disbursements of $2,517.98, leaving an ending cash balance of $20,683.33. And what makes up that cash balance is Skills USA of $6,296.04, Blood Bank $460, Make-A-Wish $3,591.68, the NTHS $10,335.61, which makes up your total. Okay. Now, beyond that, I think we have other open invoice report. Is that what occurs next?
We've got some printed here, Paul.
Yes, and I want to tell you what transpired. When we uploaded, the statement of activities is next. Guess we could review that. What you have in front of you, the open invoice report, we had an issue when we uploaded it earlier this afternoon. So this is a corrected copy of the open invoice report, but I think Mike has that, that he can show that on the screen, I believe.
Yeah, give me a second.
And this would be what we would want to have you approve tonight. You can see the various amounts there. I'm not going to go through these unless you had a particular question on one of these invoices. Scroll through that fairly quickly. One of the things that, as he scrolls through that PA Pride, I didn't know what that was for, but that was for the CDL training for individuals. So that was something that, when I saw the amount that we're, but then I realized that we were getting that as a receipt back from the various people who passed their CDL test. Anyways, that total is $127,599.57 that we'll be looking for.
You know, that made me think of something, and I'm sorry that I'm asking so late. Last year for the graduating class, we said that we would let them take their tests, their certification tests. Can somebody tell me how many of our 2020 graduating seniors did come back and do that?
There was probably, Terry, without an exact number, I want to say there was at least 15 students that did it in auto tech for their inspection license and their admissions certification.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm not sure if anybody else took advantage of it through the other programs, but I know auto tech students did take advantage of that.
Terry,
Okay.
Terry, I'll jump in as well, and that's one of the categories that we're looking at for the Gear 2 grant. That's one of the allowable use categories.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry that just dawned on me. I just thought, I don't remember my asking that after we said that we would do that. So I just wanted to, back that up and see that we did what we said we were gonna do. Thank you.
Question on Norbit. I know at our home school, it's taken quite a hit this year, and I think a lot of districts are in that. Where are we at? Is that,
I haven't had a chance to research that, even though there's a report on here. The report is through, I believe, January.
they don't update it all the time, right?
Right, it's like a month behind, or 2 months behind. So let me put that on my radar and report to you next month. Good question.
Other questions for Paul? That was the manager's report and the treasurer's report. All those other things. There isn't any, I'd be open to a motion. G there, 7G.
I'll make.
I'll second.
Any more discussion or questions, answers? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Carries. Thank you. Administrative Services and Human Resources. Anything more, Kat, you want to report there? Everything's in front of us. We've got a couple resignations, retirements, and some hirings. Is there a motion there? 8D.
So motion, Dennis.
For a second.
Second, Mahoney.
Thank you. Any questions?
Sam, I have a question. please.
Sure.
I've noticed the past few weeks that our ad's been in the paper for the business manager position. Are we getting any good bites, solid leads?
How about if we take that in executive session?
Oh, yeah. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Sorry, I forgot to wait for you guys. Carrie, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Dr. Walker, I just did receive the numbers from today's mandatory pre-bid meeting today from Mr. Coughlin. Would you like me to share those, or?
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great turnout. I know Sam and Fred were both in attendance as well as myself. There were, according to Mr. Coughlin, 8 general contractors, 5 HVAC contractors, 6 plumbing contractors, and 8 electrical contractors, as well as 2 from UNS, IBEW, and some roofers and some other subs. So a pretty solid turnout for today's pre-bid meeting. That's all I have.
Excellent, thank you. Director's report.
So I've submitted a written report, and but I would like to add one thing. At our next JOC meeting, I'm going to come forward to you with a request to approve some bids for a piece of equipment going into our manufacturer, our fabrication and welding facility. It's a CNC plasma cutting table. They have one in there now. It was homemade. And it's on its last legs. It was on its last legs for a long time. And we have a bright new teacher in there, and we're trying to help that teacher get settled into the lab. We've been able to provide some additional resources from the Gear 1 grant. And we'll be able to finish buying this thing and a couple of other things with the Gear 2 grant. So this won't require any money coming out of our budget. But because this teacher is going to request this plasma cutter and some tables and some fixtures, the plasma cutter itself is going to exceed the bid threshold. We're going to have to go out for bid. So as I mentioned before, the timing with these grants is that they give you very little time to know it's coming, and then they give you very little time to write your application and then spend it. This plasma cutter has to be here by June 30th. So, if we go at the end of April, we put it out for bid starting tomorrow or Monday, we get bids back and have you approve that at our May meeting. we're gonna need to move pretty quickly to get that thing ordered and get it here. That'll be a nice contribution to the fabrication facility. I'm really, really happy to help that young man get started. And so that's the exception from my report. The rest is in writing. Thank you.
Solicitor's report.
Just one item, there's a couple of bills pending in regard to the right to know law. Potentially updating that right to know law and making some, I think, important changes to it. I think that there's going to be a resolution that will be circulated among the school districts to adopt that resolution to support those bills and provide that to our local legislators. And I would encourage all the board members to promote that resolution and promote that change to the right to know law, because the balance of the right to know law is not balanced. There's problems with it. It needs to be updated, it needs to be changed. And I think these two laws would do it. So support that effort if you can. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Principal report.
Again, I've already talked about the third quarter honors with you. I'd just like to bring you down to the bottom of the report where we have our local scholarship interviews that occurred this week. But again, we held them in here because we could be socially distanced with our 4 interviews from the Business and Manufacturers Association. But believe it or not, we had to become creative, and I thank Mr. Miller for helping me real quickly, because at the 11th hour, 2 of our candidates were quarantined. So again, we had to become creative and get them on a Zoom meeting, but everything worked out well. You'll see the students' names. These are juniors that can win this award next year as a senior. And again, I just like to share that with you. I know the Business Manufacturers Association, Lori Mattis, who leads that group, and their guests are always happy to be here. I appreciate all the hospitality that people support with me there. So just some names for you to maybe take back to your district that they were nominated by their instructors here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A motion to approve reports.
I'll make the motion.
Approve.
Second.
Frank. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have that down right now. All right, you've got some supplemental reports there. As we asked last month there, I saw the enrollment report was updated on there, so keep an eye on that. Some paper one too.
Well, Principal Tarasovich provided this updated enrollment count for our upcoming year. One of the GSC members last month asked if we would push this into the agenda. So what you're seeing, I'll direct your attention largely to the column that says possible incoming L1. It's the second column. And our target number there is either 24 or 48 if it's a 1 or 2 teacher lab. It looks like we've had some increased enrollments in the one program that was concerning, which was culinary. And so now that one teacher will be in a full-time teaching mode this next year. That still leaves us with the 3 programs marked in red that have enrollments that remain below the Procedure 126.
Fred, can we see that report on screen?
Michael, if you go to shares, please.
It's coming, Terry.
Directors, share director.
Thank you.
Shares.
Find my paper from last
Where
month.
now?
Go to the shares drive.
I'm in shares.
Go to the administration.
Admin staff.
Joe may have that. They're trickles.
Then where?
Right,
It's just a trickle here and there.
Anything is
Director.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we had one program come out of the red.
Yeah.
Procedure.
Very good, thank you.
There's no procedure. Staff director.
Automotive technology is really strong. Possible incoming. Is that an anomaly or is that?
Hard,
50 for the first year,
Is it a file?
but 34 for year 2 and 3. Maybe they're just not.
That's a 2 teacher lab. So
it should be.
they should be done. So should culinary. Those are the only two requirements for the double teacher reps.
You said they're supposed to be on 24?
24 for each teacher.
Right, but that's 50, that's two extras.
All right,
just a couple extras. No.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine. I just want, well, there's a capacity of 96 and we ain't there, so.
so auto tech with 50 kids coming in the fall, that's real strong.
Yeah, but it's still, we aren't capacity.
So like they're in yellow, but that's only because of year 2 and 3. So if one season moves up and they have another strong year, then they'll be in the.
Yeah, assuming that
We're gonna be off the
50
chart.
assuming that those 50, you don't have any attrition next year, Dennis, then we're gonna have a challenge in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We like those challenges.
Yeah.
All righty, well, that's good. We can review that. Is there anything else good for the order here before we adjourn and then go into executive session? Anything else?
So what Dr. Walker was talking about, if you want us to make a motion to okay approval on go out for bids on the plasma cutter, is that correct statement or?
I'm not sure if that requires a vote or not. It's certainly informed, and so, I can take it either way. You know that that's coming. You would have to approve the bids, though, I believe. So, Dennis, I'm happy to do it any way that it fits the needs of JOC.
All right, Tim, we don't.
I think the administration has always gone out based on their discretion to fund in regard to items. And when the bids come back is when we review them. That's been the history anyway.
Yeah, so we want to make sure, like you said, timeline, want to make sure we can vote on it.
Next month.
In a timely fashion.
Yeah, and that'll be somewhere in the area of a $40,000 piece of equipment. Just for context.
I know they're going down the price a lot.
Pardon me?
I know the plasma cutters went down the price a lot from when they first came up.
Probably not a piece that's on that state.
Co-star?
Yeah, whatever it's called, probably because most districts are buying a plasma cutter.
As a matter of fact, that's the challenge, is that it is on the co-stars, but you still have to get 3 bids. Because part of the funding is federal funding. So we'll go out to 3 distributors who will, and it's only available from the manufacturer, and the 3 distributors will give you the same price from the same manufacturer, and then we'll have to pick them. That's the way it's gonna work out. Okay, it gets tricky when federal funds.
I have a stupid question here.
All right, go ahead, Terry.
Do we have a policy in effect where we try to award bids to local, like in Harbor Creek, we always try to pick somebody who's Harbor Creek or Harbor Creek adjacent. Do we have something like that? I mean, obviously it's the entire county, but do we try to stay within the county usually?
Well, I think you're obligated by the school code to award it to the lowest responsible bidder, so you can't really control that. It's whoever bids it out, whoever submits the bid, and the person would be lowest responsible.
All things equal, we would obviously go probably.
If you had 2 equal bids,
Right.
one was local and one was not, then you could go with the local.
Okay.
But beyond that, you're subject to the statute.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. One thing that I came up with, thought of is with all this COVID that's going on right now, and now that the state and everything is saying anyone over the age of 16 is ECTS, are we promoting or doing anything with our older students to try to get them out and get vaccinated, or are we staying out of that political hot topic?
So we have pandemic coordinators meetings on a regular basis, and in general, the ECTS has not gone down that path, and I'm not sure status of the school districts are. I don't know if you have an idea.
Yeah, I was in a meeting today, Steve, in which the Erie County Health Department reported out that they are beginning to actively stage vaccinations for that age group, that 16 to 18 group, as well as their families. There's a couple school districts, including myself, that are investigating that, so we're hoping to have some progress here in the coming weeks.
We're in hot and heavy on it right now.
Yeah, I know Matt's involved too, yeah.
I would say the only thing that concerns me is the idea that it's a political issue. I don't feel that it is a political issue. I feel it's a health issue. So I think we need to make sure we delineate the fact that this is for public health, not for politics.
Understand. We're trying to, I know our district is looking into it. It's obviously very early, but we're looking into partnering with some medical facility that says, hey, if we get 50 students, we bus them down there, you handle it. And right now, the early feedback we're getting is positive. So I just didn't know if, you know, if ECTS was gonna go that route, or we're gonna rely on the individual districts to take care of it.
There are a lot of ways that ECTS functions that is reliant upon the services provided in the school districts, and we provide for that for example, behavioral assessment teams and for psychological counseling and that kind of stuff. So I could see that this was something that we would probably be better off allowing the school districts to take the lead, so we wouldn't end up confusing the situation.
Sure.
But we're happy to do whatever if we're called upon. And we participate in these meetings with the Erie County Department of Health through the superintendent's meetings, you know, every 2 weeks. We're there to do whatever they want.
Alrighty, I'm not seeing anything we need to act on sectional level. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So let me, for Terry's benefit, who came in just a little late, any other JOC members on there, we are going to go into executive session. Following this meeting, we're going to adjourn first. There'll be no action taken tonight on anything that may be discussed in executive.
Sam, before you adjourn, can I just make one comment?
Absolutely.
We don't have an official graduation like normal and stuff, but our graduation will be live streamed this year on Wednesday, May 26th, the night before the next board meeting.
All right.
Okay, it's going to be here at the Erie County Technical School, but we're only having our student and 2 guests for them. So again, they're going to be staged in their labs. Then they'll come into the cafeteria as a program, and we'll have them socially distanced in here for their parents or their guests to be. And then they'll get their certificates here this year, and then they'll go back to their lab for refreshments and some fellowship. But again, that's how we're going to have our graduation. So if you're interested in watching it live stream, it'll be next that Wednesday, May 26th at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Will that link be on?
We'll be on our,
Site.
yeah, Michael will have it all set up for us.
Great.
And we'll send an email out so everybody knows. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
So scholarships, got them all taken care of?
I apologize.
Scholarship fund?
The scholarship committee is meeting, they met this week. They're starting the interview process and the application. So again, we probably after the fact, let you know who's getting that next. Okay.
That'll be foundation, but yes. All right, so we'll go to executive session here.
Can somebody call me on my phone?
Hold on, Terry, hold on. Number 12, statute. That's what I asked. There's nothing there. Board action item, there's no changes. So it takes us to adjournment. So adjourn. Terry, we're going to send you a link, and so that we don't have to have a bunch of phone calls. Is that right, Mike? We're going to do a link.
I'm going to try to send a link to the JOC members right now, so don't get off yet.
Don't JOC members stay on. Everybody else, we need a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Who wants the motion?
So moved, Gilbert.
Dennis,
Second.
Awesome.
somebody else.
We're adjourned.
Before 7 o'clock.
But don't, JOC members, stay on there until you get your link, and then we're going to end this meeting, and then we'll do an executive meeting here, executive session meeting again for personnel.
Okay.
So while he gets that done, go to the restroom and grab another whoopie pie or Salisbury steak or whatever. GSC members missed a good hot meal tonight, sorry.
From what I'm seeing, without me trying to find my old one. So what about, it makes sense up on the work. Okay. And once we got all the- So overall, it's the same.
Right, make sure all the singles in this kind of show.
They can get you that.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, like overall,
Overall.
since the last meeting.
Yeah.
Which is
You're saying that, they're closing that down, they're shutting down the main meeting and opening a private meeting that no one else will be able to get it.
Well, if we not giving that, that's all.
Have some coffee, Jim, sorry.
I'm having some. Oh, we're working on.
No.
Literally.
Okay.
Just keep going. Let's keep this train moving.